Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyamsundar Krishna Balaram Bal Gopal, Kaunitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, Assembly devotees, and Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan, whose wonderful appearance was yesterday, Navmi. So today we wanted to continue with the pastimes of Lord Ram, because we started yesterday and didn't finish. So we reached the point of the wedding of Lord Ram to Mother Sita, and after that they all returned back to Ayodhya and lived for many years very happily. And then Dashrath Maharaj decided to make Ram the next king, and everybody was very happy, joyful, because Ram was so loved, so much loved and respected in the kingdom. And even Kaikai, one of the stepmothers of Ram, was very joyful. She loved Ram very much, perhaps even more than her own son. And Ram also had a great deal of love for her, even perhaps more than he had for Kaushalya Maji. However, events transpired where Mantra, who was the maidservant of KK, felt threatened, thinking that if Ram became the king, then Kaushalya would become the favorite queen. At the moment, KK was a favorite queen, and she had a lot of privileges. So she was afraid that her queen, KK, who she was a maidservant of, would lose some of the privileges and would have a consequence on her as well. So she convinced KK that this was not a good thing, that Ram was going to be made the king. Now, previous to this, actually, as part of the untold Ramayana, we hear that Lord Ramachandra had requested KK that you're going to have to do something horrible. You're going to have to send me to the jungle. And KK was shocked. Why would I want to do that? I love you very much. Why would I send you to the jungle? Well, I've got a lot of things to do in the jungle, and I need a reason to go there. And if you really love me, then you will do this for me. So this was a role that she was playing, knowing that it would she would become vilified throughout Ayodhya and beyond. But she loved Ram so much that she was happy to accept any tapasya on his behalf. Anyway, so she played the role of the horrible stepmother, and she convinced Dashrath Maharaj or made him give her two promises that he had made to her a long time before. Because one time she was in the battle with the king and she actually saved the life of the king. And at that time, the king promised her two things, anything she wanted. But at that time, she said, I don't need anything now, but in the future, when I want something, I will let you know. So now she went into a great sulk, went to her anger room. And the king, he was very attached to KK, and he would do anything to please her. So she demanded her two wishes to be granted. And she said, I want you to make my son the king, Bharat, not Ram. This was a shock to the king. But the next wish was, it was like a dagger to the heart. She demanded that Ram be sent to the forest for 14 years, banish him. And that hurt Dashrath Maharaj so much that he actually never recovered from the shock of the demand made by KK, who would not back down, no matter how hard they tried to convince her. So Ramachandra, of course, when he heard that that he was to go to the forest, he said to the stepmother, "You didn't even have to bother my father. You could have just told me yourself. I would have done anything you tell me to do. I will obey your command, whatever it is." He was an ideal person, ideal son. He came as the ideal character, ideal human being. And Mother Sita also said to him, "I'm coming with you to the forest." She didn't have to go, but she said, "I'd rather be with you in the forest than without you in the palace." And he would try to convince her that it's such a dangerous place, so many wild animals, we're walking barefoot, so many thorns on the paths, and we don't know where we'll be eating, what we'll be eating, where we'll be sleeping. So just stay in the palace. But she insisted, "I want to be at your side. This is why I'm married to you. I will always be at your side, for good or for bad, or for worse. I will never leave your side." So he reluctantly allowed her to come, and the younger brother Lakshman, who was very devoted to Ram, wanted to serve them for 14 years in the forest. So he also went with them, and his wife, Dhanapatni, Urmila, was really amazing support for him, that yes, I am happy for you to go and serve Mother Sita and Lord Ram, but don't sleep, and I will sleep on your behalf. So you can just continuously serve and look after them. This is an example of great, great personal sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord, from both of them. And in the forest, they loved the forest. Of course, the Lord is completely comfortable with his own creation. And the forest is very much his creation. And there were many, many pastimes. This is Kevat, the boatman, who insisted that he should wash Ram's feet before he takes him across the river. And Ram would say, "No, you can't wash my feet." But Kevat was very intelligent. He said, "Well, I know your feet. They've turned stone into a young girl. So if you touch my boat with your feet, it might turn into another daughter, and I've already got one, which is enough." So in this very nice exchange between the devotee and the Lord, Kevat persuaded the Lord to allow him to bathe his feet, which is what's happening here. And then he took him across the river. In the meantime, Dasharat Maharaj passed away. And that was really as a result of a curse that he had received when he was a young man. He was in the forest, a prince. He was target practicing. And he accidentally mistook somebody called Shravan Kumar, who's here. Shravan Kumar was a very nice boy who was looking after his elderly parents, you can see here. And he, mistakenly thinking he was a deer, shot him and killed him, which was a real tragedy. And realizing what he had done, he was extremely sorry. So he went to the blind parents of Shravan Kumar and told them what had happened. And they cursed him that Just like we are going to die without the presence of our son, you will also die alone. And he did. He passed away. What's this picture? Oh, this must be again Shravan Kumar. Yeah. He tried to serve them and please them, but they were so upset. They died because of the grief of their son dying. And that curse came true. Dashrath Maharaj also died all alone. I mean, there was people around him, but he was alone because he was missing the company of his dear son, Ram, so much. So in the meantime, Bharat found out what happened. He came back to, he wasn't present when all this was happening. I think he was at his mama's house. So him and also Shatrughna, when they came back, everybody was looking very sad in the kingdom. And it was as if there had been a, terrible event that took place in the kingdom. Everybody was morose. Nobody was looking at him in a nice way. And he, even though he inquired, nobody would answer him. So he went to his mother. What happened? Where's father? Where's Ram? Oh, father's dead. Oh, why? How? And where's Ram? Ram's in the forest. I banished him. KK would tell Bharat. Why did you banish him? What did he do wrong? No, he didn't do anything wrong. But I wanted you to become the king, so I sent him to the forest. How could you? The Bharat became extremely angry with his mother. So angry he was. If he wasn't for Ram, he perhaps would have done something very nasty to his mother. But he knew that if he did, Ram would be very unhappy with him. And then Mother Keikei realized that this was a very terrible mistake. And then they all went to the forest to convince Ram that you don't have to go to the forest. You don't have to stay in the forest. Come back. The Mother Keikei has taken back what she wanted you to do. But Lord Ram said, when I give my word, I keep it. So I will not come back for the full 14 years. And Bharat was extremely disappointed, as was everybody. And eventually Bharat requested Ram to take his shoes, and he would put his shoes on the throne. And he would never sit on the throne. He would never even sit in Ayodhya. He was always outside of Ayodhya, outside of the palace, living in a hut, just like Lord Ram would be eating berries and other jungle fruits, sleeping on the floor, wearing simple clothes like Lord Ram was wearing. So this is dedication. And of course, even then, all of the citizens of Ayodhya still blamed Bharat. He would have to go early in the morning to the river Saryu for his bath, because if he went when everybody else went, they would all be cursing him because of you. Ram is no longer in our kingdom. So he would go very early. But he tolerated the curses. And he's such a great example of one who is very tolerant. And Shatrughna would always serve Bharat. So it's another great example of one who serves the devotee. But he was extremely distraught, extremely distraught. And they continued in the forest. They stayed in many places. Chitrakoot. What was the other place they stayed? Chitrakoot. And where else did they go? In the forest. Panchavati. Yeah, that's right. They met with Sabri at some point. who was waiting for them. Sabri was an old lady. She had been told by her guru that Ram will come one day. Just wait for him. So she waited years and years and years. Every day she would bring an offering of berry, what are they called? Bor, small apples for the Lord. And one day he actually came and she tasted the apple and then gave it to Ram to eat because she didn't want to give him sour apple. And Ram would accept that and eat it. Even Lakshman was a little surprised. Why are you eating? Well, she's such a devoted. She's so devoted. Her devotion is greater than anything I've seen. So he honored the devotion of Sabri by taking her, what she had tasted and given to Ram. This is the power of devotion. It's devotion is actually regarded that it controls the Lord. So the power of devotion. And then there came across the sister of Ravan, Supanka, and she was a demoness who pretended to be a very beautiful woman, wanting to unite with Ram. But Ram said, "Well, I've already got a wife, but my brother here, he doesn't have his wife with him. So why don't you ask him?" In this way, they played around with her. And eventually she turned nasty and wanted to hurt Sita Mata. And Ram cut off her nose. And she went to Ravan, explaining that there's a beautiful woman who should be in your hands, not in the hands of the human Ram. And Ravan became very interested, and he sent Marich in the form of a deer to entice Ram and Lakshman away from Sita, so that Sita would be on her own. And Marich knew this was not a good plan because he knew the position of Ram. But Ravan threatened him that if you don't go, I will kill you. And Marich said, well, I'd rather be killed at the hands of Ram than you. So he went, turned himself into a deer. He ran deep into the forest. Sita was very attracted to the deer. She wanted Ram to bring the deer as a pet for her. And Ram went, and then Marich was pretending to be Ram, shouting he was in trouble, and eventually Lakshman went after Sita. But before going, he drew this Lakshman Rekha, which is a very special protection, where he invoked Agni Dev to come and protect Sita Mata from any danger. And he advised her, don't leave this area of protection. And this is when Ravan came, and he tried to abduct Sita, but this Lakshman Rekha protected her. So he disguised himself as a Brahmin or as a sage, and he begged alms, and he convinced Mother Sita to come out of this Lakshman Rekha and to give him the food, which she, being very kind-hearted, she did. And he kidnapped her. Crazy fellow. Kidnapped Mother Sita. Now, again, we understand that this Lakshman Rekha was very, very special power there. When Mother Sita crossed that Lakshman Rekha, actually, it is said that Agni Dev replaced the real Sita with a Maya Sita. Because, of course, no way Ravan can kidnap Lakshmi Devi, the eternal consort of the Lord. So Agnidev, replaced the real Sita with Maya Sita and took the real Sita to his heavenly planet. So the Sita that was in the hands of Ravan was not the real Sita, which is very interesting. And then later we see when Sita was rescued, she was made to go through the examination of fire, Agni Pariksha. And that's when the real Sita was brought back by Agnidev, and the Maya Sita was taken away. So anyway, Ravan kidnaps Sita, but he was watched by Jatayu doing this. And Jatayu fought Ravan. Jatayu was an old eagle. There was no way he was going to win against Ravan. And he knew what Ravan was doing was very bad. And he wanted to delay the inevitable. He wanted to delay by 48 minutes, because by doing that, he was actually, by making that delay happen, he was effectively cursing Ravan to be doing this act in a very inauspicious time, and that he would face the consequences of that. So that Jatayu perfected his life in 48 minutes. In 48 minutes, he perfected his life by giving protection to Mother Sita. And then Ram and Lakshmana came back to find Sita was not there, missing, and they tried to. She left some jewelry on the way while she was being kidnapped by Ravan. And Ram asked Lakshman, "Oh, this is Sita's earring, isn't it?" And Lakshman said, "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" "No, I've never seen her earring. I never looked at her face all these years. Don't know what her face looks like." He was so loyal to Ram that he wouldn't even gaze at the face of Sita. So he didn't know if it was her earring or not. And yes, so on their travel, they found Chitayu, who told them exactly what happened. Crazy Ram kidnapped Sita, and he died in the hands of Ram, as we can see here. Truly blessed personality. He gave everything for the Lord. His very being he gave for the Lord. And the Lord treated him like his elder, and he performed the final rites, which he could not for his own father. Because when Ram found out his father had died, he was distraught, truly distraught. But now he found some solace by performing the final rites for Garud, which was amazing. What a fortunate personality. Not Garud, sorry, Jatayu. Also, the Sabri pastime took place while they were searching for Sita. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Then in due course, Ram met with Hanuman. Hanuman was actually disguised because they had heard about Ram and Lakshman, and the king of the monkeys at that time was, not necessarily monkeys, called Vanras, very special personalities, was Sugriv. And Sugriv sent Hanuman to check out who are these two, because they're coming towards us, but we don't know if they're friends or enemies. Because at that time, Sugriv was having a dispute with his brother Vali. So eventually, Hanuman met with Ram and Lakshman, realizing that actually this is the supreme personality of Godhead. Hanuman was a very special personality. He was a divine soul. son of Vayu and Shiva as well. Very strong, knowledgeable, talented personality who endeared Ram actually. And eventually Hanuman took him to Sugriv to meet and meet all the others as well. And Sugriv promised Ram, I will help you, but I have something that I need from you. My brother Vali is a constant threat and he comes to defeat us often. So if you can defeat him for me, I will look for Sita for you. So that was a deal. So Ramachandra, and the reason why Bali was so anti Sugriv was because one time Sugriv left Bali to fight with a demon, and he blocked the mountain or the cave in the mountain. And then he was thinking, oh, Bali hasn't come for so many days, he must have died by now. But it wasn't the case. Vali was still alive. So when Vali came out, he saw Sugriv had taken over the kingdom. He became very upset and started to fight with Sugriv. Anyway, Ramchandra agreed, and eventually Ram shot Vali while he was fighting with Sugriv in the back. And really, that's perhaps a dharmic thing to do. And that he was when Vali was on his deathbed, he questioned Ram, why did you do this? You are the greatest personality. Why did you shoot me in the back? And the Lord explained that as a representative of Ayodhya, I mete out punishment, and you have treated your brother very badly, trying to upsurge his situation by violence. And in order to protect him, he has taken shelter of me and I've protected him. And there were a few other reasons as well. And Vali completely accepted, yes, what you have done is correct. And he passed away looking at the face of Lord Ram. A very fortunate soul, actually. So then eventually Hanuman went to, and in the armies of Sugriv went all over Bharat to search for Sita Mata. They couldn't find her anywhere. Eventually they came to the south of Bharat, and Hanuman was very distraught because they could not find Sita anywhere. But the brother of Jatayu was very old vulture. I think his name was Sampati. And he had seen Ravan carry Sita across the ocean to Lanka. So he informed them that Sita has been kidnapped by Ravan and taken there. So then they were thinking, oh, okay, that's good news. At least we know where she is. But how to get there? And it's such a long distance away. And this was the greatness of Jambavan. Jambavan was a bear who had a very long life, a very wise old man, old bear. And he reminded Hanuman, because Hanuman was cursed to forget his powers. So he reminded Hanuman, hey, Hanuman, you can cross the ocean by just jumping through just one step, you can cross the ocean. So this is the mark of a great leader. He inspires others, just like Jambavan. He's inspired Hanuman. Yes, you can do it, Hanuman. And that's what Hanuman did. He crossed the ocean. He had a few obstacles on the way, and he dealt with those obstacles. And eventually, he found Mother Sita. I think if it's okay, we'll carry on tomorrow. and finish the pastime of Lord Ramachandra tomorrow. Any questions, any comments, any mistakes I've made on the way? Because these pastimes are so amazing, and I think everybody knows them so well. I may not know them so well. So, okay. Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai.